Good morning. A very, very warm welcome to all. This is it, the big day, the big ceremony you've long been working towards. So my warmest congratulations to each and every one of you who is here, to all our new graduates of the iSchool, to your parents, families, and friends. You all deserve to celebrate today. You graduates have worked very, very hard, and your families and friends have made it possible by always being there, ready to support you. I'm sure that each of you, whether you're one of our new graduates or one of our guests, realize what an eventful, promising time it is to be graduating with a degree in information. And while each of you here knows how central information is to all organizations, for all people, and all endeavors, what's terrific is at the rate at which the rest of the world is recognizing the centrality and significance of the information field increases dramatically every day. The recognition bodes great opportunities for all of you. Opportunities now, immediately as you graduate, and ongoing opportunities as you move into succeeding phases of your lives, because the importance and centrality of information is not about to diminish. So the one request, and the only request I'm going to make of you graduates as you go forth with your newly earned degrees is to extend your use of these highly honed information skills beyond your own personal and professional goals, to use this powerful expertise in assisting those less fortunate than yourselves, as well as the amazing organizations that assist them in improving their lives. I know and trust that you can do this because I've seen so many of you do this as you were here as students, and I've seen it numerous times. During the past few years, I've been inspired by you, and I trust you've been inspired by your fellow students in terms of the many entrepreneurial and community-minded projects you've led, which have reached out and enabled others than yourselves to achieve their goals. While such initiatives will continue to bring you honors and awards, your ability to contribute to those other than yourself will also be fulfilling the vision of the iSchool to expand human capabilities through information. Excuse me. So let me end my welcome by simply saying, that I myself and all the faculty, administrators, and staff who've been with you and watched you develop and mature over your time with us wish you the very, very best of luck in what we know will be tremendously rewarding and information-rich lives. I have one additional honor now I'd like to announce that is not in your program, and this is a faculty honor. Susan Bonzi. Many of the students know Susan really well. Susan is retiring this year, and the Chancellor has just announced that she will be awarded emeritus professor status and will be honored by the Chancellor at tomorrow's university-wide commencement. So hooray. And now it is my delight to introduce our keynote speaker, Philip Kaplan, who, like you, is an iSchool graduate. In fact, I think of Philip, who was a 1997 graduate, as an early harbinger of a new generation of students we are seeing now, as he was an honor student and at the same time a very early successful entrepreneur and highly trained technically. Since graduation, Philip has gone on to found 9 startups, some of which are described in our program, all of which I find to have a distinctly Philip fun sense about them, while at the same time being very successful, or if not, they served as a learning platform for his next venture. Philip is also a best-selling author and an awesome musician who is currently focused on blending his musical talents with his amazing technical and entrepreneurial abilities. All of this is what captured our student leaders when they had the opportunity to select a speaker for today. But even above this, I believe is Philip's interest in and respect for them that they witnessed when he would meet with them, challenging them, engaging them, inspiring them. During spring break in Silicon Valley or demo day here in Syracuse, and at the many alumni student events in which he so actively participated. Philip's obvious success, plus his support of the iSchool, plus his generosity with his time, his advice, his willingness to hear ideas and share experiences have rightly earned him the role of the iSchool's 2014 keynote speaker. Philip Kaplan.
My name is Philip Kaplan, and I graduated from the high school in 1997. Thanks so much for having me here. This is a huge honor, and it's great to be here. Also, congratulations to all of you. You should be super proud of what you've accomplished. Before I start, tomorrow is Mother's Day. Are there any mothers here? My mom is here. Hi, Mom. I knew there were times we weren't sure I was going to make it through high school, much less college, so this is weird. Also, thank you, Dean Liddy, for the great introduction. It's been great getting to know the Dean and watching iSchool become the best iSchool in the country since I graduated, which also makes my degree look really good, so thank you. So I'm going to tell you 3 stories. The first story is about how I became an entrepreneur. So after I graduated from Syracuse, I got a job as a project manager with a web design firm. It was 1998, at the height of the first dot-com boom. The job was okay, and I learned a lot, but I really wanted to go into business for myself. Now I think there are a lot of different reasons why people go into business for themselves. Some people have a passion that they just can't shake. Some people like the independence of being their own boss. Some people become entrepreneurs to make money, and some people want to change the world. But for me, I just hated waking up early. I figured there had to be a way to make the same amount of money I was making at the time, which was not a lot by today's standards, but be able to wake up whenever I wanted. Specifically, I wanted to be able to wake up when I couldn't hold in my pee any longer. I saved up just enough money to live without a paycheck for 1 month. Then I quit my job. I remember my boss asking why I quit. I was unprepared for the question, and my answer was, I don't know. But that's how it started. I had 1 month to make more money, or I'd have to move back in with my parents. I knew how to make websites, and figured that's what I would do, but I didn't know any potential clients. So I put my resume on job boards and on Craigslist, and whenever a company contacted me about a job, I told them that I actually really wanted to be a freelancer and work from home. And I also told everyone I knew about the work I could do. I told my friends and my relatives and their friends and their relatives. I got some clients and I did the best work I could do. Within 6 months, when I was 22, I had 5 full-time employees and more business than I could handle. Since then, I've started many different kinds of companies and employed a lot more people. But I still wake up every day thankful that I get to do what I do. But it all started because I wanted to sleep in, which I accomplished until today when I had to wake up at like 6 a.m. So I guess my advice is aim low at first. The second thing I want to talk to you about is being prolific. I've created probably 100 different products, apps, websites, online services, and companies. Some became big, some got acquired, and many went nowhere. But they almost all started out as hobbies. In fact, most of my work I did on the side to avoid doing real work. So none of it feels like real work. It feels like art. So think about your work as if you were an artist, like a musician, and any job you have, or company you start, or trade you learn, it's like putting out an album. You're gonna have some hits, and you're gonna have some duds. And the duds aren't that big of a deal. If you're working on something and you decide midway through that it sucks, paint over it and start again. I once spent almost a year building a product, and then scrapped it at the end without launching because it wasn't good enough. That's called quitting, and that's okay. And you can be prolific. You can start as many jobs or companies or products as you want. If anyone ever tells you that it's bad to jump around, or that you need to focus on one thing, that's not true. Don't listen to their advice. Which brings me to my final story about not taking advice. Yes, I see the irony in that. I'll get to that. There's an organization I used to belong to called Young Entrepreneurs Organization. It's kind of like a support group for entrepreneurs, or some people call it AA for entrepreneurs. We'd meet every week in New York City. In every meeting, one person in the group had to stand up and tell a story about a problem they were having, personally or professionally. Then everyone else in the group would chime in with help. But there was one cardinal rule. Nobody is allowed to give advice to the presenter. You're only allowed to respond to stories. Stories about your own life and personal experiences and how they relate, what you did and what happened. So you can say, for example, well, this one time I was in a similar situation, and here's what I did, and here's what happened. But you were not allowed to say, if I were you, here's what I would do, or what I think you should do is whatever. You can only tell stories. Unfortunately, it's not like that in the real world. Everyone in the real world wants to tell you what they think you should do, or why your idea will never work, and how they would do it if they were you. And to address the irony of me giving advice, I'm trying to stick to stories, I promise. Mentors and experts are important. I always try to surround myself with people who inspire me. But it took me a long time before I realized that I should stop listening to their advice and only listen to their stories. Because every regret I have in business is because I took somebody else's advice rather than going with my gut. And the problem isn't just that their ideas didn't work out most of the time when I took other people's advice, which is true. And it's not to say that my ideas would have been any better. It's that I'll never know, because in those cases, I didn't do my ideas. And for a creative person, happiness isn't whether you made the right decision or the wrong decision. It's that you made your decision, that you realized your vision. When I was just starting my career, there were a lot of people who I wanted to be like. Some of them I didn't even know, so I couldn't take their advice. I could only learn from what I saw them do at a distance. I have a friend named Jill, who was one of the first friends I made when I moved to New York City after graduating. She was a successful photographer, and still is. When I was a project manager in a pretty dull job. I was a little jealous of her. She was running her own photography business. I thought that was so cool. I remember one day I stopped by her studio when she was doing a big shoot. I remember looking around thinking that not only did she have a cooler job than me, but so did her assistants, makeup people, stylists, and everyone involved. I really wanted that. But then I looked over at her coffee table and I saw who she was shooting that day. David Bowie was sitting there at her coffee table, smoking a cigarette and drinking coffee. And I thought, this guy also has a cooler job than me, and he probably gets to wake up whenever he wants. I realized if all these people had cool jobs and freedom, why couldn't I? Maybe I couldn't be David Bowie, though there's still time. But I thought it might be fun to see how far I could get. And I quit my job that week. You guys are just starting. I know a lot of you have jobs lined up for when you graduate, some don't. And whether you want to go into business for yourself or not, think of all the people you want to be like, and think of their stories, and see how far you can get. Thank you.